with countries such as Egypt, Kenya, Namibia, and South Africa leading the energy transition. Leader Network held an insightful conversation with Yariv Cohen, the Chief Executive Officer of Ignite Power, discussing the company's efforts to expand energy access in Africa and explore the challenges and opportunities in the renewable energy sector. Let's join Irene and Yariv for this enlightening conversation.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you for all the good work you're doing. And once again, congratulations on winning the Zayed Sustainability Award at COP28. And I mean, thank you also for all the work you're doing in Africa to power Africa up. I know that you're not African, but your contributions literally seem like, you're African. Thank you for that. And I would like to know what Ignite Power's contribution has been to the entire conversation and contribution towards energy transition.
Okay, so we at Ignite Power, we connect rural homes to power, we connect commercial businesses, we connect agriculture facilities, but the key focus for us is connecting homes. We are present in 18,000 villages in Africa. We connected about 3 million people, and my goal is to connect 100 million people to mobile power at their home. So not a lantern, but modern energy services to African rural homes.
What would you say your experience has been? You are in 8 countries in Africa. So within all of these different countries, what has your experience been? You can also mention what these countries are.
So we started in Rwanda, and that's where we learned the ropes. Then we moved on and we progressed to Sierra Leone and Mozambique. Last year we entered Kenya with 2 acquisitions. Now we made further acquisitions that put us in more countries from West Africa, Nigeria, Senegal. And we are in the process to do the same in Tanzania, in Malawi, in Zambia and other places. So we're growing very, very fast. And the reason it takes a long time in Africa to get things right. You need to get the pricing right. We are very affordable, $1 per month. You need to get the operations right. You need to get the financing right. But once you get it right, things are explosively fast.
But I reckon that in different regions, there are different experiences in terms of regulatory policies, in terms of ease of market entry, how easy it has been in all of these countries. What would you say that the similarities are? And as an investor in these countries, what would you also encourage to see better, policies from the government to ease both entry and in terms of financing? We'll come to financing, but you could just speak a bit on this.
So the good thing is in our market, regulation is improving and it's kind of being harmonized. Removal of tariff for solar panels, removal of custom duties, regulations around minimum standards. So the African countries are very good in learning from each other. We try something in Rwanda, then Kenya replicates. We do it in Mozambique, and then we get the similar in Nigeria. And we get a big development institutions that are sharing that knowledge around. So what we're seeing, the enabling environment that relates to all of those is constantly improving. Every year it's better than the year before.
I mean, at the end of the day, energy is a business, energy provision is a business, and it's important while you're trying to provide this energy access that the financing that you have put in to these businesses, you're able to recoup it. I once heard one of the investors say, while Africa may be a risky market, it's a high risk, high return market. However, one thing we've seen with Ignite Power is its affordability. How have you been able to develop a structure, a financing mechanism that supports it being affordable? You mentioned $1 a month, and I mean, that's really small. But in terms of your scale, how are you trying to ensure that affordability meets the expansion and your ability to also recoup all that you're investing?
So it's not just financing. We've been 10 years now, Ignite is celebrating. And we worked on every part of the cost. The product design to make it as affordable as possible. The right suppliers that can give us the right terms. The distribution that enables us to reach very affordably from the capital to the most rural areas, to removing of tariff, to removing of customs, to getting the operations that they get very low customer acquisition costs. With lower price, there is better payment. We lease our equipment. The more people pay, the better they pay, the cheaper we can be to the next one. So like everything in Africa, there's no silver bullet. You just have to do a lot of things well and continuously improve.
So I see that you recently acquired, you have 2 acquisitions and one...
We have more, but I cannot talk about it yet. We've completed more acquisitions. The 2 I can talk about is a company called Tawami and a company called Mawezi, both of them in Kenya. We acquired them last year, and this year they've integrated. They became Ignite early this year. And we're looking at the record installation and impact for both those companies now.
And in terms of acquisition, how does that support the impact of what Ignite Power as an organization represents?
So when you have scale, you can go to $1 a month. If you don't have scale, you can't. And that starts a virtuous circle of you buy more, it's cheaper, you can be cheaper to the client pays. So many companies did a very, very good job to start. But then to move on to the million of homes, it's difficult, it's hard. You need to have the right technology. We invested heavily in technology around it. And then those companies, they come and join the Ignite family, and we can enhance their impact much, much more than what they dreamt on.
And I know that it's also very important that while we do this, we also ensure that there are we try to mitigate as much risks as we can. Honestly, working in Africa for 10 years, what would you say your biggest blows have been? Because, I mean, people who intend to invest would be watching this. So what would you say your biggest blows were, and how did you learn from it? And how is it also helping you in terms of when you decide, oh, you want to go into this market? What are those things you also look out for before you go into Africa, the markets that you go into across Africa?
So the first thing and the first most is you need a government that wants to provide their people what we do. Energy is a social good. It's the government responsibility for providing it, and they need to give that mandate to a private player. So don't go to a country where they don't want you there. So countries where we come in. Now, the second part, there's no big challenges, but there's a lot of small challenges. Whether it's the importation, it's the rain, it's the regulation, it's drought. And what we're able to do is build a team of problem solvers. Every day we have problems, and every day we solve the problems. We wake up with a set of problems, sum up it, and we go on. So if you want to succeed in Africa, build a team of problem solvers. Don't assume nothing will be smooth. Just solve the problems and grow.
Finally, before I allow you go, let's talk about the operational part of it. Because yes, regulatory policies by the government to, like you said, you want to get only in markets that the government, they want you there. And I mean, that's just natural for humans. You don't want to be where they don't want you, else they would frustrate you out of that market. So we have that bit. We also have the bit where, you come, you install your solutions. And then there's also the bit of maintenance, because sometimes we hear conversations about how, things don't last, before you know it, things break down. But have you been able to maintain that structure? You've mentioned the fact that you need to build a team of problem solvers. That means you also need to work with locals. What have you seen working with locals across these African countries?
So first of all, 98% of our employees are African on the continent. We hardly have anybody outside. We are African managed. If you buy a system from Ignite, we will give you a service. We will lease the system to you for 3 to 5 years, and for as long as the system is under contract, it's 100% guarantee of service. We will fix it, we will come to your home, and we will replace it. We install it in your home, and we make sure it works. If you want to continue with us later, for the long you are under contract, there's no question. Service is priority.
So you work with local partners in those countries. So if people want to, if other energy providers in this country want to work with Ignite Power, what are the different steps and elements to get involved?
Like everything, there's a lot of options. Africa, it's not one size fits all. They can do sales for us, they can do installations for us, we can provide them with financing. They can provide us with financing. We can do some of their equipment. We have multiple partners, dozens of partners with different parts of the value chain.
But then in terms of financing, how has it been for you? I know you're also an investor, but let's talk about you being invested in. right? What has been the rhythm from financiers when you take this project to them? What are those major things that they look out for before they say, oh yes, we can invest in you, we'd like to invest in you? What has been that your selling point?
So the first thing is, the most important investors are the local banks.
Banks.
They understand the business better. They get cheaper cost of capital, and we're still the only company in the energy access sector that got unsupported bank from a local bank. We got a loan from a local bank without getting them support of a DFI, and it's multiple. That's our 8th loan. We're very good with the banks because our business is simple. We come to your home, we install your system, you will pay us over time, we know how much you pay, we can show it, we can show that we paid the loans, all of them until now, and then it continues. So the more you build the track record with the client and with the financier, they want to come. And the key is unlocking local banks, and we're good at that.
Fantastic. And what kind of companies are you interested in financing?
Energy access. We are now very much focused on energy access.
When you have to invest in a local African company, sometimes I hear investors say they have everything else, good ideas, but in terms of their structure, is not sometimes where you would like it to be. What are those things that you'd say you're looking at for beyond the fact that, oh, it's an energy company? What other elements must they have to be suitable to be financed?
So let me debunk something. There is capital for Africa. There is ample capital for Africa. Everybody is looking for one thing first, which is governance. Making sure the company is run right and nobody will take my money. And governance is the thing that enabled all the other countries to happen. Build up a good governance to your company and you will get the capital. If there's no governance, it's a high risk.
Thank you so much, Yariv, for joining us on this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.